Today we're going to be looking at how much money I made selling books on Amazon KDP in October. So I've been selling low and medium content books on Amazon KDP now for about a year. I started doing these monthly videos a few months ago, so we're going to follow my journey and see how it progresses across the year. Now so far in my Amazon KDP journey, this is what it looks like. So we've got pretty consistent orders across the last 3 months, but the amount of profit has been going down. And that's because I've been reinvesting a lot of my money in advertising. Now the idea of doing that is that we're going to get more sales moving forward. But I don't want to just be spending all of my money on ads. And one thing that I've probably been a little bit guilty of, especially in the US marketplace, is spending too much money on ads that weren't performing well enough. And so for October, what I wanted to do was continue to get orders but increase the amount of profit. Did we do that? Let's find out. At the end of last month's video, I set myself some goals. That was to research some Christmas niches, which I did, and I made a video on it as well. If you want to check that out, click the link in the top corner now. My aim for the month was to publish 6 books. And also what I wanted to do this month was diversify the types of books that I was creating. So out of these 6 books, I only wanted 1 or 2 of them to be colouring books. And I did that as well. I actually created 4 word search books and 2 colouring books this month. And then if you've been watching my Etsy videos, you'll see I started a shop on Etsy. My aim for the month was to create 10 Etsy listings, but I didn't manage that. I only managed to publish 5. So I'm still getting to grips with Etsy and I'm not making much money, if any at all, on there at the moment. So I've been focusing on Amazon KDP, but moving forward I need to keep growing my Etsy shop. And then the goal for orders for October was 450 book orders, and I set myself 1 Etsy order as a target as well. And we achieved that. From those book orders, I wanted to achieve at least $250 in profit, and I'm happy to say we did that as well. So in terms of the goals that I set last month, we've done really well. So let's break this down in terms of what it looked like in October. So I published 6 medium content books, 2 large colouring books. By large, I mean that they had a lot of designs in them. So they weren't ones that I could pump out quickly. They're ones that took a little bit longer to get the designs for and also put together. And then I also created 4 word search books. So out of these 6 books that I created for October, the quality for them were all really high. I optimised my Amazon ads to reduce spend on ads that just weren't performing. I'll go into that later, but it's really exciting the difference between September and October for my ads. With my Etsy shop, I posted 5 new listings, and I also tested $4 of Etsy ads. So far, I got 0 sales from those $4 of ads. And I thought, seeing as I'm mentioning Etsy, I'll also mention this YouTube channel. Now, I got almost 40,000 views in October, and I'm up to 10,640 subscribers. So I just want to say a quick thank you to everyone who checks out these videos, who hits that like and subscribe button, it really helps. Now let's move on to what you're all here for, which is to see how many sales I got in October. I need a little drum kit here just to do a little drum roll. For October, I got 640 sales. Now looking back to when I started a year ago, 640 sales in a month is absolutely fantastic. But as you know, on this channel, I'm completely transparent with you with how much I spend on advertising and how much profit I actually make on those sales. And one common theme across a lot of publishers is that the top 10 books will drive most of the income across your book sales. So I've published 77 books, and the top 10 books have brought in 528 of those sales. And if we look at this bar chart, you can see the blue book there, which is my bestseller, is driving so many of the sales. Now that's amazing to see because it's selling organically, but then my aim is to create another one of those that sells really well by itself. You can see the yellow and orange bars are going quite strong as well. That's a word search book and a colouring/activity book. But I just thought it was interesting to show that 528 of those 620 sales were all driven by 10 books. So for me, that shows the importance of quality over quantity. If you can create 1 book that sells really well, it can drive ongoing sales and give you an income. Speaking of income, in October, those sales gave me $1,156 in income. So this is the money that came to me after Amazon took their cut. If I got all of that, this would be like $10,000, which is insane. But unfortunately, I have to pay Amazon a fee, and they also take the printing costs, which is fair enough. But in terms of what came to me, my income was over $1,150 for the month of October. And for me, what I think is really nice to see is just there's a steady income throughout the month, and if anything, it's increasing as it gets to the end of the month. So fingers crossed, this is now the base level of my income for these books, and it's going to keep increasing as I release new books. So earlier we looked at how the top 10 books drive the most amount of orders. Here are my top 5 books in terms of how much they're making me for the month. So the blue bar from earlier is that top book here. That's made me almost half of my income. So this top book ranks number 1 and number 2 in a variety of really competitive keywords, and that is why it's selling so well organically. In order to get it to rank there, I had to spend a fair bit on ads. I think I spent maybe $150 on this book to get it ranking, but then it just took off by itself, which is amazing. So this is the one that's took off for me. Now I've got similar books in different niches that to me are as strong if not stronger. And I've spent $150 to launch those as well, and they've just not ranked as well as this book. So for me, the importance is create a quality book, launch some ads, and then the books that are going to sell should take off by themselves and start selling organically. So this top book is a colouring book for adults. The second book is a word search book. The third book is a colouring/activity book. The fourth book is another word search book, one I actually launched this month. And then the bottom book is a colouring book that we launched a few months ago. Breaking down my sales by marketplace, the majority come from America. And that's because I create colouring books using the American spelling of colouring. Now, do I get some sales of these in the United Kingdom? Yes. But I do find that it's much harder to sell US spelt colouring books in the UK. But looking at my sales, you can see everything is print. So all of these 620 orders were paperbacks. And at the moment, I'm not selling ebooks of anything. Now, if I could create some ebooks, that would be great because the royalty you receive is generally better than the print royalty. But for the type of content that I'm creating, colouring books, word searches, it tends to be that people want it in paperback format. So we've had 373 sales in the US, 206 in the UK, 38 in Canada, and then a couple in other areas as well. Looking at the kind of month-to-month growth, this is where for me it gets really exciting. So from the start of the year, you can see the steady build. Now, as I mentioned in previous videos, around May time was when I dialed up the amount of advertising I was doing. So that kind of shows the importance of ads, but you can still see the amount of growth month to month. Now, I'm really hopeful that going into November and December, into the season where people are buying gifts for each other, that this is going to keep increasing. But I'm sure you want to know how much I spent on ads to get those orders. Let's start in the US marketplace first, because that's where I run the majority of my ads. Looking at the US, I spent $312 on ads. I got 678 clicks and 43 orders. So that is not a great return on investment for ads. So if you look at that blue bar, that's the amount that I'm spending every day on the US marketplace. And as you can see, in the first week of the month, it was much higher than the rest of the month. And that's because my ads weren't optimized well enough. And that's also because I was trying to launch a winter colouring book and I was spending a lot of money to do that. So after that, I started reducing my spend, started turning off ads that weren't working effectively. So hopefully in November, my ad spend will be a bit less and the ACOS will be a bit lower as well. So I mentioned a winter colouring book that I launched. The top screenshot here is an example of the 3 ads that I ran for this colouring book. So you've got an auto ad, a keyword ad, and a product ad. So I spent $161 launching this book using ads. For that $160, I only got 16 sales. So that's basically me paying Amazon $10 for every sale that I got. Now I think with this book, I only make around $1.50 for every sale. So I've basically paid Amazon $8.50 for every sale that I got through ads. Now, why did I keep this ad running and why did I spend $160? is because of the success of my #1 selling colouring book. I know that if I can get my books ranking in that #1 or #2 spot for certain keywords, that's going to bring me in money organically over the long term. Now, unfortunately, I didn't manage this with this book. So that $160 that I've spent, it's not been wasted. I might get some organic sales over the long term, but unfortunately, it was a bit of a failed launch. Now, it's probably because it was too competitive of an area. So it's a winter colouring book for adults, and there are a ton of those out there. I thought that my book was better than what's already out there, but at the end of the day, the customer decides what is best. The bottom part of the screen, however, is an example of an ongoing ad that's performing effectively. So this is a book that I launched and I got it ranking for keywords, but it is in a bit of a smaller niche. But as you can see, I've got a product ad and a keyword ad that I keep running. A profitable ACOS on this is 19%, and over the month of October, the product ad was profitable and the keyword ad was slightly unprofitable, but I don't mind that because the spend on it was under $3, and over a longer term, it does have a profitable ACOS. So that's an example of an ongoing ad that's profitable. Now, as I go into November, I'm going to keep those ads on and turn off ads like the top one. Now is where the advertising part of this video gets really good. I massively overhauled my UK ads this month. I turned off ads for colouring books that weren't selling and focused on new releases, my word search books and the colouring books that were selling. And as you can see here, I spent £100, but I got 81 orders, which is absolutely amazing. So the ACOS across this is 19% compared to the 75+% in America. So basically in the UK, my ads are profitable. Here's an example of a launch of a word search book that I did this month. So again, I created a product ad, a keyword ad, and an auto ad. That's generally what I do for a launch. And generally I'll give it a budget of anywhere between $50 to $200, depending on how competitive the niche is. For this one, the niche is slightly less competitive. And as you can see, I've spent just under £40, so just under $50. And for that spend, I managed to get 23 orders. Now also, this is a launch of a book. During that first month, I'm not that bothered about it being very profitable, but the lower the ACOS, the better. And here, having an ACOS of under 25% is actually profitable for this book. So this launch has gone absolutely perfectly, and I'll make a few little tweaks to this ad to try and bring the ACOS down slightly, but this is running effectively. Taking a look at Canada, we spent just under 10 Canadian dollars for a couple of sales. And in Australia, we just spent 50 cents for 10 clicks and 0 sales. So what does that look like when we put it all together? For October, we got 1,182 clicks. That is very, very similar to last month. But what's amazing is that we spent almost $100 left for the same amount of clicks. So we spent $441 on ads this month. We got 126 orders through those ads, which is a huge improvement on last month. And these ads account for about 20% of my orders. So that means 80% of my orders are organic, which is fantastic. Doing the maths on that, it means that the estimated cost for every sale that I'm getting through ads is around $3.50. If you checked out last month's video, you'll know that the estimated cost was over $6 last month. And so bringing that down to $3.50 is incredible. And moving forward, I want to keep it there or bring it down even lower. Now I hear you ask, Craig, how much money do you actually take home? Well, now we're going to find out. The income for the month was $1,156. The ad spend was $441. The expenses was my mid-journey monthly account fee, which is $36, which means my take-home profit for the month is $679. For the Brits out there, that's approximately £559. Now, that is a huge improvement on last month's. We went from making under $200 to making over $650. And it makes me really happy that I can share these results with you, so you can see that it is worthwhile persevering with KDP. It just takes some books to take off, as well as continuing to create good books and launching them effectively using ads. If we take a look at my month-to-month results, you can really see here the growth. So in August and September, I made under $200 per month, but then in October, I made just under $700. Now, if you want to find out what that looks like in November and December, you're going to have to stay tuned. So my final thoughts for October are that I improved the ACOS drastically in the UK marketplace, but my US ads still aren't perfect. My word search books have launched really effectively, and from what I've seen so far, especially in the UK, the cost per click and the conversion rate is better than the colouring books. And obviously it's been amazing to see the growth from September to October. And one of the main reasons for this is my best-selling colouring book, which has brought in over 390 organic sales for the month. Moving into November, I want to make sure that I'm publishing some Christmas-themed books, or at least books that sell well over the holiday period, because there's going to be a lot of traffic for those kind of books over the next couple of months. Again, I want to publish 6 books. My breakdown for this is potentially 2 word search, 2 colouring and 2 activity books. Now last month I set myself a goal of publishing 10 Etsy listings and I didn't hit that. So I'm bringing that down a little bit and we're going to go with publishing 8 Etsy listings. In terms of the books, I want to stay at a similar level to where I am now. So my target is to get at least 650 book orders, as well as 1 organic Etsy order. And let's face it, I would like the profit to stay where it is or increase even further. So the target for next month is $650 in profit. Will we do that? We'll have to wait till next month to find out. Thanks for sticking around for the whole of this KDP income report. It's been a really strong month in October and it makes me really happy to see the growth and to see the profit rising drastically as well. Now we've hit almost $700 for the month in profit. I know that $1,000 for the month is really achievable. I hope that this video was useful. Let me know how you're getting on in the comments below. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button, and I'll see you in the next one.